Hi, this is Mike from Above Grade Level, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the SAT math section and some things you can do to help you or your student do better on that part of the test. We're going to go through some formulas, and you'll probably recognize some of them. Some of them are actually given to you on a sheet of paper for the test, but it's important that not only you know these formulas and when to use them, but also have them memorized. It will save you critical time on this test, and that is a premium. So for instance, let's start off with the squares. The difference of squares, a squared minus b squared. That is equal to the quantity, or in parentheses, a plus b, times the quantity, or in parentheses, a minus b. So it's a plus b parentheses times a minus b parentheses. And that is really an important point to know on the test. Another thing is distance equals rate times the time, okay? That may seem common sense until you get to the test. Another thing that's really key on this test is the slope. How do you measure the slope of 2 points or 2 lines? And it used to be called m, or rise over run, but you can get this by taking y2 minus y1 in parentheses, so it's that quantity, divided by x2 minus x1 in parentheses. So it's the change in y over the change of x, and that's the rise over the run. Also, a key thing is if you have non-vertical parallel lines, the slopes have to be equal. So if they're 2 lines and they're never going to intersect with each other, they have to have the same slopes. Another key on the test. Good to know the linear functions. Y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept and m is the slope. So again, that's going to be important to know that. The quadratic formula, a little more complicated, but you can get it. It's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That could also be on the test. Important to understand some of the relationships you get with angles. If you've got lines that intersect with each other, the corresponding angles have relationships where they could be equal. Good to brush up a little bit on your geometry. Remember that a triangle has to have 180 degrees with all 3 of the angles. And know that there's a special type of triangle, one where you got 245 degrees and it's a right triangle. So it's got 45, 45, 90. The sides will be x and x on the 45 degree side, and then x square root of 2 on the hypotenuse of the longer side. Some others that you might need to know. It'd be good to know some of the square roots. What's the square root of 2, square root of 3? Just kind of knowing some of that stuff can be good. What can you do if you're dividing exponents? What does that do with the exponents? Know that, what you got to do with that. Another one that we've seen on the test is the distance formula. So it's d equals the square root of x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared, all under the radical sign. So that's good to know. And then kind of a final dust up here is you do have to review your trig function just a little bit. So know what the sine of an angle is. The sine of an angle is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse being the biggest side, that means it's going to be less than 1. The cosine will equal the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. And the tangent, if you get that, will be the opposite over the adjacent. So there could be a question or two on that, so it's good to know it. But that's kind of the high level on the math. I hope this has been helpful for you in getting a higher score. I know that some of these tests are now optional, but we want you to get that scholarship money. So go out there and do your best. And if you have any questions, come visit our site. It's www.texastutorteam.com. Thank you.